Yeah, so like marketing is always the last thing to bring on in a business, and it's the first thing to cut.
Yeah.
And so for us, we're all about, it's probably one, I think I've probably told you this, I always tell the staff is literally money will always be the issue in the absence of value.
So you're seeing video really take off, right? That's probably the biggest thing. What you're talking about is reels. That's all I ever hear about in like the real estate market is video. That's the way you can stand out. But what happens when that market's oversaturated? Where do you go from there?
There'll be another hot fad, if that makes sense. Like back in the day, we think about, we used to never do stories, but then stories and it popped off. Okay. Now stories die, unless you're like close friends doing this or having some fun stuff. I think it's frequency, uniqueness, and I truly think if it's authentic to the core. Because with that, I feel like there's so many things that you can do. And if it's bringing the personality into it, like spokespeople, like there's a guy named J-Do out there that's amazing. Love all his work. He crushes it. And he uses his personality to do stuff for Greenville Tech, for Bond School Wallace Arena, for Habitat for Humanity. And he just kills it because he's just himself. And he's just talking to the camera. And I feel like when you have if we have either a spokesperson or someone there, that brings that emotional buy to it versus just throwing a reel out there to throw a reel out there.
Absolutely.
So.
J-Do was so funny.
J-Do's a great guy. If he hears this, love you, J-Do.
I'll have to check that out.
Don't know you, but I love you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it'll be on here.
Yeah, just the thumbnail needs to be just his face and all of us like hearts around it. And then someone's like, what the hell is this?
Hey, Ken was talking about we need better thumbnails.
Exactly.
Just start attracting people for the dumbest thing.
Like Mr. Beast thumbnails. Just do that, but then have other guys' faces in it.
Beast, man.
What's your thoughts on stock photos on social media?
I hate it. I hate it completely.
Is there any science behind it?
Well, it's just consumers aren't stupid nowadays.
Yeah.
Consumers are very, very smart. So you can't push that in. Back in the day on like a newspaper, you could put a generic thing on. Facebook, you used to put generic. Now consumers know. They see, they're smart. They consume data like crazy.
And they can reverse image search.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. You could just save that photo, put it in Google, boom. Oh, I found it right there.
Yeah. When I see stock photos now, so two things happen. One, I don't trust the brand because I don't know if it seems like they're trying to hide something because why would
it's not legitimate work.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I see with construction.
Or two, I don't think that you're a professional company. Yeah. Like I think maybe you're chucking a truck, just slapping stock photos on stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen that in construction a lot. They'll be like, "Oh, look at this house I just painted," and I'm like, "That's the second picture on Google, dude. That's not yours, and that's obviously not yours. Like, why don't you just post a picture of what you did?"
Or they'll even go farther and put their watermark somewhere on it and make it look like,
I see it all the time. And then I'll usually call them out and be like, "Well, I just found this picture on Google, and that said some guy from
pull like the metadata
Canada.
And be like, screenshot, put in the comment, look at you."
I do. Yeah, and then they disappear or block me. Never hear
banned. I can't find their account again. Somehow I got banned from their page.
Weekly at this point. Yeah, I like to call people out.
No, it's that trust factor. I mean, everything you see, you have to take it at a grain of salt, but also have to treat every single consumer as a golden goose. How many people will they know? How many people they recommend? No matter what business we're in the people business.
For sure.
And word of mouth is the biggest form of advertising you can do. So you have to keep that reputation intact. So if that trust is already diminished right there on social stock imagery, you're not going to get very far.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty tough that you just mentioned too. Like the word of mouth is still the strongest part of marketing.
Absolutely.
So really, you're just building a brand, getting them to recognize the name, getting the content so they come back to it, and then they still have to do the work to get that word of mouth to refer it to the next person and comment or recommend it. So that's tough in its own. Is trying to like market the word of mouth.
Well, I would say this. I mean, this is just the big advocacy for Ghost. We've done zero marketing for Ghost. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
We just let business marketing company doesn't even do their own marketing.
We let. I did spend some money on PR. That's about it. But we let our business owners or our clients, because the best thing we surround ourselves with people we want to be like. I mean, we talk about your circle, your group. So business owners are business owners. They're not going to put themselves nothing wrong with their employees, but it's like, okay, I might go to like a employee Christmas party or this or that, but like you're surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. So you're elevating yourself, and all those people, you're talking about business all the time, because I don't think we ever stop talking business when we're around, except for our wives. Like, we literally said the wife at the same time. She's like, I swear if you don't stop. Like my phone rings, she looks at me and says, it is 9:00 at night. Like, Tyler called me at 12:36 p.m. because your truck was locked in the dock.
He called me too. I did not answer.
I know. I answered, and I was like, He was like, "Do you have the key?" I'm like, "I do not have the. You think I have a key to Swamp Rabbit moving truck?" I said no. But I was like, "Call Chris. Like, it's on notification and turn on." So I'm like, "Yeah, he has his things on silent. It's too late." But it's like those type of things. It's like, we talk to each other. We all business owners talk to business owners.
Yeah.
So how can we be advocacies for each other? And that word of mouth is just, okay, hey, I recommended Ghost is, oh, great, that's awesome. And then it just helps build that way.
For sure.
So
no, I agree. That's a great point because, and then also like word of mouth, especially with like your company, I feel like if anybody I tell, like obviously like Brian, a couple others, like they know, like, cause I've had the experience with you. So they know what they're getting is legit because digital marketing, it's kind of a scary world jumping into, not being like experienced in that world, not knowing what to look for.
You get burned. There's so many companies that get burned so fast.
Yeah. It's expensive too. So off the bat, you're throwing a couple $1,000s at something, and then all of a sudden you're not seeing the ROI, or you're not seeing the content be what you want it to be, or not being authentic. And then now you're just out all this money. You got to go to another company, and you don't know what that company is, if they're reputable or not, because they're good at marketing. Yeah. So if they're good at it, they're building a decent website for
present themselves
themselves
very well.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're tracking these numbers, like you get these numbers, but are these numbers coming from, the ads? Are they coming from other things I'm doing outside of marketing, like networking? Like where are these website views coming from, or quote clicks or whatever?
Well, that's why, like when we did your ad, I mean, you're like, "Are we gonna run another one?" I said, "I need to find out if this actually worked first.
Yeah, you
gotta just run it." That's why I called him. I remember Ashley hit me. She says, "Chris is asking, are we gonna run more ads?" I said, "I need to call him and say, do they actually work? Can you please give me into your CRM?
Yeah.
Can I see how many calls you actually got to then do the math and say, this is worth it?" Because then if I just said, yeah, we'll charge you more money and run ads, it's like, yo, come on. Like, you're not even interested in hearing the other side of it. Like,
I've been back and forth with it, just not having a website. And then I see all the marketing guys I talk to, like, you need a website. I'm like, well, I've done this well without it, and why would I need one now? It's
an informational data point. That's all it is. It's just to consume data to have people build trust and have more information on you. That's all websites are for.
Yeah. But they can find that other places.
Yeah. Designed to generate leads or get information. That's what a website's designed for.
Yeah.
It's like it's essentially your business Bible.
Exactly.
The website.
Yeah.
Because I mean, some people use it as a portfolio or something like that. But
that's what we use
do that
for.
off of Facebook and whatnot.
We just put our clients right on there. Boom. That's who we worked with. Oh, great.
It's weird though, because like when I first started, I didn't have any social media or anything, and it was all word of mouth. But then like when I got onto Facebook, now all of my stuff is like Facebook. So I'm like, how did I get all those leads before this? And now I'm like, okay, so let's try and get a balance of both so that we're growing in that realm. And that's what I've always seen. It's like, how do I go back from not using Facebook, because sometimes I'd like to just delete it and not have it at all. But it's like now it's like such a huge part of my business.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like I saw GVL Daily hit you up, and I saw that yesterday. I was in the middle of the gym. I saw like he was hitting you back. I was like, okay, cool. I see him interacting. Don't got to do anything. It's good. Yeah. It's such a key. But also think about if like one day, I think it was like a year and a half ago, Instagram went down and no one could get on Instagram. No one could do anything. We're like, how long is it gone for? And like we were freaking out. Like we can't post. We can't. Our whole business is digital. We're like, please, dear God, make sure this comes back. And obviously it did. 12 hours later. But the biggest thing is like if social media went down, like just say like Meta's like, hey, we went back, something happened, it all shut down.
Or Elon buys it all.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, it's like, okay, do we have other forms of communication that can draw leads? Like Vine. People did Vine for a while. Vine's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and then
I was getting Vine famous for a minute, man.
You were?
Yeah, and it just dropped off. I started doing stupid videos, like thought it was the coolest thing. I started getting like hundreds and hundreds of people following
like Jackass stuff or what?
Yeah, kind of. I would do some stupid stuff. Yeah, I did one was called like the delivery disco, and like anytime a delivery guy would come to the door, I would like bust out into dance, rip my clothes off.
Okay, now see, that's what I was waiting for. I was about to say, was he clothed or not? He literally just already went there. I was like, great,
I'd have the money in my belt loop, and I'd be like, and then the guy he'd grab it. I had a bottle of milk. I would dump my head, and I did like a few that were like that, or I would follow other guys.
Completely different right now. I am too now. I just want to go deliver my pizza at his house and see what happens.
Dude, it was hysterical.
Me too.
But everybody started following us for it, and then like
DoorDash.
yeah. Well, that was pre DoorDash.
$3.70. I will deliver to this address.
Yeah, and they know who I am. That's that delivery disco guy. It was so much fun, and then I would do like other things with that other famous people would do, and then it started balling, and then all of a sudden it was gone. But then I never got into the Instagram Instagram reel stuff, and I was like, just kind of left it. But I could have done so much more if I kept going.
And that's hard to see. That's why I think a lot of, especially influencers, quote unquote, they'll do different avenues. Because if one goes down, they have another one.
Yeah.
You just can't put all your chips in one basket.
You got to diversify.
Exactly.
Yeah, because once one goes away, what do you do now? Definitely. Now you got to like refigure out this entire new outlet for.
Well, like great
business.
example, obviously Twitter for consumers is really dead.
Yeah.
I mean, if something happens with Elon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like no one really uses Twitter anymore because unless you're following celebrities or up-to-date news or this or that, that's who you're following. But other than that, we're not trying to tweet every day. I don't have you ever logged on to Twitter and did a tweet? Like, we're in the studio right now. We're about to start.
Day trading, that was the best thing. It was just day traders because you can up-to-date news was awesome, but that was about it.
Yeah.
That's
or like
the only thing.
Snapchat's great. You can do some little snaps for business, which are great. You can pay for those. TikTok's great as well, but it's so time consuming. You just got to think about all the time, energy, and effort it goes to put into these things, and then if it's worth it or not, and then can you monetize it?
But how do you follow some of that stuff as far as like tracking ROIs on that?
So for that, the hardest thing is like it's I feel like that's more branding because until you can actually make money from it, like great example. Someone's like, hey, I did there's one girl in town that I see her TikTok is blowing up, which is great, but I don't really see her growing or her viewership is going up, but I don't see her business is growing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like she's being
There's
seen.
no dollars tied to it.
Exactly. So it's like you're being seen and people are scrolling through it. You might be relevant, but there's so many out there. I mean, I feel like in Greenville, there's so many influencers, so many TikTok and
marketers.
How do you differentiate yourself there? And then obviously, there's one person like a guy in his Goldie. He's the one guy I'd say he has monetized his channel.
Yeah.
He has his golden retriever. They go everywhere. They're sponsored by PetSmart. Like that is the way he did it very well. But it's like, okay, that's one out of how many people live in Greenville.
Yeah.
Okay. Then all these other people try and get, but not getting anywhere. They might get the viewership, but it's just like, then you're wasting all this time, energy, and effort on something. Like you're not growing.
Well, I've seen that too. Cause like we have a mutual friend that like he puts up all this stuff and constantly posting, but then I'll see like, you have 5,000-6,000 followers, but you're getting 1 or 2 likes on your videos. And it's like, but your engagements are high, but really are they engagements just because you technically get an engagement by just like skimming over the video and moving on. So is that a real engagement? Yeah. So I've seen that, it's like, are you really getting anything from that? Or are you just wasting your time? And then a company like yours, how are you tracking that? That's kind of tough.
And it is hard. We always say that, okay, there's that organic side. And we went this through with one of our clients recently. We said, okay, we've been doing everything organic. And they're like, that's great. I'm like, it is great, but we're only playing in our sandbox. Yeah. We can't get outside our sandbox. If we don't run ads and don't do anything outside our sandbox, we're gonna be hitting the same people that see you day in, day out, every day. And it's gonna
scale.
Yeah, and your engagement's gonna get lower and lower and lower because they've already seen it.
And then you drop to the algorithm and
exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to constantly get outside the sandbox. And we always do like a little push here and there. Like we ran that thing in Charleston and Greenville and got more calls, and then boom, we saw the ROI from that. Fantastic. Okay, that worked. We can probably do it 2 or 3 more times, but then we have to change our strategy again.
Yeah.
We can't keep on doing the same thing over and over expecting different results. Insanity,
Yeah,
that makes sense. So. I was reading the other day about AI marketing.
Oh, yeah. That's
have you looked into it?
I have. My team has we've dipped our toes into it.
A little too scared too.
Well, I was looking the other day and there was this thing on Instagram I saw and it was like your business can start zero to start your business, and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
It was like talking about all these different AIs you can have on a free trial, and it'll make your logo, do your copywriting, do this, do that. I'm like looking at this thinking, oh man, it's not even a person. I was like,
I've seen that with like screen or like writing out it works.
Write a whole paragraph about how I can't come into work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
does that make you nervous?
Yes and no. I see if we can use it as a tool, maybe.
Yeah.
For copywriting and proofing stuff, it might make it easier than us having to sit down and type. We type out blogs all the time. Yeah. It's like, okay, I think best things to do in Greenville. And then it just takes us forever to write it and then send it to you. You look at like, well, I'll change this, change that, change it. And then it's like, if you can get an AI say, tell me about the best place to do in Greenville. Then it's all the research. I'm like, it saves us time. I mean, I'd like to have that, but
you can proofread it to make it personable.
But then I have to be up and honest with the client saying, this is an AI we used. Because if I don't tell them that, they're like, well, and then they read through like, well, this has no sense because it's all this garbage that's put into it. I think about that quality assurance that goes through as well. Sure. If it can be a tool, absolutely. I'll jump on board with it all day. We just got to do more R&D.
Yeah. So where do you see Ghost, where's your vision for Ghost take you?
I want to own the Southeast.
Yeah.
I don't know about after that, honestly.
Separate locations or one location running it all?
I want to do a owner operator style.
Yeah.
So I want to do like
a managing partner?
Yep. So I want to do like the Chick-fil-A model where, okay, we find a location, we do the R&D, we help you build it, we help all this stuff. And then they're the owner operator and they get a license for it.
Yeah.
Franchising is great, but it's like a marriage. I mean, they put $30,000 in, they pay, let's say 6.5, 4.3, whatever, royalty type of stuff. But then it's like they own.
Yeah.
They own.
You can't
part of
enforce
it.
as well with licensing.
Exactly. And so like if it's an owner operator type of thing, I can say, okay, great. Hey, I'm awarding this license, like the Chick-fil-A model. If you don't do a double drive through, we'll pay you out.
Yeah.
But we're going to award that license to someone else that gets to take it. So like that's the idea, because I don't want someone, as you scale and grow, I don't want a brand to, like, you think about exploding to implode.
Yeah.
Because you have wrong people. And we want to do a vetting process and all this other stuff, because we really want someone to take that and own that. Like, I want us to have all ghosties everywhere, little ghosty people. I don't want to always be like, hey, is Britton in Charleston? Nope. Britton's in Greenville. Is Britton in Tallahassee? Nope, Britton's not in Tallahassee. Where I'm in Greenville, like those type of things. I want them to
living
own
the
their
ghost
market.
life.
Exactly. So I want to own the Southeast, even though we have clients in, Chicago, we have them in Maryland, we have them in Virginia,
Texas.
we have them in Texas, Tennessee, Georgia. It's like, I want to really sort of hyper focus on the Southeast. And then if it gets to the point where we can get more national, I'm fine for that.
Yeah.
But baby steps for me for sure. I want to do the right way and then do it correctly where I'll be long-term versus just growing and then selling and getting out.
How are you tackling a big goal like that? Are you like reverse engineering or
it's process procedures like we did with Ghost University, but it's like
Yeah.
with the foundations of everything we do for franchises or licenses type of stuff. So it's a goal for sure. I was on actually a sort of a podcast with one of our software partners out in Colorado, and I was on the phone with a lot of different marketers, and they're like, I see he has franchising on his website. I see he has I'm like, do not submit anything, please. We're not there yet. I just want to put on there as a preemptive, like, hey, we're looking that way.
Yeah.
If you reach out, great, but don't expect to say, I want to have this market. Great. We're still getting, I would rather get so much of those foundations and those process procedures. I won't even send like part of the deals, like to send out a SWAT team.
Yeah.
Strengths with advanced tactics, and really hone in and find their first 5 to 10 clients, hyper focus on them, lock them down. Boom. You start your business with 10 clients automatically. You're in the positive.
Yeah.
You're in the black.
Nice.
So we really want to get that done well.
Yeah.
So.
And I think now, knowing what I know now, like when I tried to start Charleston, like Charleston's been a huge pain point for me. I wish I would have kind of like took a little bit slower. So I get where you're saying, like, you want to put the foundation in place before you implement a new.
Because I want to scale and grow. I mean, I don't think any business owner does not want to scale and grow. I just,
how many headaches do you want to come with it?
exactly.
And I mean, that scale and growth can either bring you back down. I mean, it could ruin your whole business, and that's the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With reputation, like, and I don't mean it's a bad way. There's a great restaurant group here in town that decided to expand outside of their area, and it was the hardest thing. Is like, they opened 2 more locations when they closed them down.
Yeah.
And they had a franchisee open one, and then they sold it back to corporates. Like those growing pains are great. I understand you have to get through those, but it's hard. It's hard when you go through. It's okay. How do I make 3 steps forward without having to take 8 steps back?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's why I've seen it so much happen everywhere. I'm like, I cannot have this happen with our brand.
Do you see like the market kind of affect people's budgets and stuff? Does it seem to increase the budget because they need more business, or is it
People
like
usually do the opposite? I probably.
Yeah. So like marketing is always the last thing to bring on in a business, and it's the first thing to cut.
Yeah.
And so for us, we're all about, it's probably one, I think I've probably told you this. I always tell the staff is literally money will always be the issue in the absence of value. So if I don't provide the value, they will not open their billfolds. They'll not see they won't put the money towards it. So we have clients that, scale up and down on different things. But majority there is a residual that stays consistent across the board. But if they want to do more photos and videos here, if they want to spend more money marketing here, for us with their residuals and what they do is more like, okay, we're managing everything for you. You don't have to touch it unless you want to touch messages or you want to touch some review stuff. That is totally up to you. We'll handle everything else outside of that. So we're sort of like a complete outsourced CMO.
That's
for
cool.
them.
Yeah.
But they get to pick and choose what they want.
And they can fine tune what they're spending the money on.
Exactly.
And stuff,
Exactly.
So that way they're not just throwing it away. That's the thing
Definitely.
I've seen a lot of. I've done just the research and tried to interview website designers before, and I had like 2 website designers that we narrowed it down to. One was $400 and one was $1,500. And I remember going to the $1,500 one, and I was like, hey, tell me what's different. Because honestly, if you sell me on that value, I will go with you. And his tact was, well, if you don't want to spend that money, you don't. And he was kind of a dick about it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not like negating your price. I just want to know what my difference is. Yeah. You're $1,100 more than the other lady. So why? And then he just flipped out, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going with that. I'll just leave it alone.
Every time I come to a proposal meeting, or I just I'm open and honest.
Yeah.
I have to be. Didn't say that to the open honest thing. Sorry, another podcast. But it's you just have to treat someone like a human being.
Yeah.
Like I feel like proposals half the time you walk up to them like, okay,
sales isn't
are you
about
okay
sales.
with this? And you're getting very. It's more like, hey, Here's your
This is what it
proposal.
is.
This is what we have. This is what you laid out. This is what I love with our a la carte. And this is clients pick and choose what they want. So, and this might be a little more sales into this for guys, but we have a whole sheet that they pick and choose.
I remember,
They're already telling us what they want. And all we got to say is, this is what you chose.
Yeah.
This is the price.
Yeah.
That's easy. It's a yes, 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 yes across the board.
I remember the first time you sent me that sheet, and I think I clicked like everything. I think it was like billboards, and you messaged me. You're like,
I was like, bro, you
Come
don't-
on,
Do you want to
Yeah.
know the cost of this?
I was sat there. I was like, I'm just like, I want to just help them out as much as possible. I was saying,
Yeah.
we'll do it. And then you look at the bill like, what the heck? Like, you chose everything. So that's
Can't
why
do
we're
it for
like,
free.
everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
Comes out to
all right.
10 grand a month on
Probably more than that.
way more than that.
Probably
Yeah.
like 50 or 60.
And you're looking at it, I'm just like, I just want to come with those proposals and just treat people like human beings. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what you chose? Yes on here? Yep. And
Yeah.
we literally go through step by step with it.
Yeah.
So we get those 7 confirmations of yes. And then we're like, okay, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll. Let's
Nice.
go.
And then
So
you came back to me, and you were like, "This is what
I recommend.
You're like,
don't
this
do
is what
this.
I
do
recommend. Don't do billboards. Like, let's start out posting on social and all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, and I'll tell them too. It's like, hey, do not spend money here. It is
Yeah.
not. I do not recommend. And it
Yeah.
might lower our bill. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'd rather
You'll
push
get
you
it
the
in the
right
end.
direction
Yeah.
because of the value of saying you will be with us for long term because I'm actually helping you versus hindering you, just trying to make a paycheck real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, it builds trust too.
It does.
We tell people all the time, like, boxes. Like, people ask us, can they buy boxes from? Well, we're not the cheapest. We can sell them to you, but you can go to Lowe's and get them a little bit cheaper. And we're just building trust there.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody's like, oh, you lost money not selling. Well, not really, because I got that move because I built that trust by being honest with them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not worth nickel and diming people. I've kind of gotten to that point where it's just like sales isn't really about sales. It's about being honest and open and transparent to people. They're already made up their mind. If you're open to them and explaining it to them and just trying to be honest, they're most likely going to go with you for that.
Yeah.
Sales isn't about like, oh, I gotta, if he's gonna walk away, I'm gonna try and and he's gonna come back. It's like, no, it's not really about all that stuff. Like it's like that. I don't really believe in that whole stuff. Like I do more sales even in our Myrtle Beach location. I don't even live there, and I'm still a full sales guy just because when people reach out, I'm transparent to them.
Yeah.
And here's our pricing. Here's why. Here's how we do it. Yeah, there's a guy chucking the truck that can do it $100 a room, whatever. That's fine. But what's the difference? Ask the questions.
Absolutely.
And usually when they ask the other people questions, they've already got answers from us, so they know that we're already like trying to be transparent about it. So
And a lot of times when you ask that, you go back and rebuttal with them, they get defensive, and that's the first red flag you look.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm just asking. I can't ask a question. This is how this relationship's going to go. If
Yeah.
I ask at the very front,
Goodbye.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's good. Goodbye. Yeah.
So we're going to do a couple hot seat questions, like
Deal.
rapid fire, like
Deal.
boom, boom, boom.
Okay, so for starters, what's the craziest client story that you've had? And it could be good or bad. You don't have to name any names, but like, what's the story that really resonates with you as far as like a client situation?
I think it's one of our old restaurant groups left us.
Yeah.
Hey, you're too much. Can't do this. We can do it ourselves in house. Absolutely, go do it. They just came back to us three weeks ago.
Nice.
And I think it's like that egotistical side of like,
Yeah.
we can do it ourselves. Absolutely, go do it.
Try
and
it
they come
out.
back like, hey, can you help me with this? I'm like, absolutely. Hey, welcome back. It's like keeping that word of mouth. But I think they were a problem child because we went through 76 menu edits.
Holy
76. And so our graphics team's like, we do not want to work with them anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand, absolutely. Because they were one of those ones that they bent us over and went to town.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is not happening. This is not working anymore. And we're glad that they left. Like, we can do it ourselves. Like, absolutely. Yes. Like, it's like one of that thing. But the worst thing, they're coming back. We're like, okay, we're going to have to set some standards like right now.
Yeah.
Like we have a meeting with them later today.
If we do more than 20 edits, it's this much more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was probably the horror story because I'm like, all my staff is now getting PTSD automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're still like, don't let them walk in the door. I'm like, it's money. It's money.
They're like, fuck that place.
Exactly. So that's probably the without naming too many names,
Yeah.
probably he's one like, they took advantage of us. They left on their own terms of good. Now they're back and it's like,
And you can kind of set the boundary now, which is
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's like a red flag client for you that you kind of step away from or try and push them to somebody else?
Oh, it's always real estate or automotive
Yeah.
and weddings. Those are 3 industries I will not touch.
Really?
Weddings are very lucrative. They're very, with the production side of it, you can make a killing on weddings. But Bridezillas,
Oh my
the time
gosh.
invested into it, the
Why not?
edits.
Why real estate? I feel like you can bring
No,
so
well-
many damn
Well, I do
people
it
in.
with commercial real estate. So SVN, Blackstream's one of our clients.
Yeah.
But I don't deal with like individual realtors because it's, okay, I need to, like, for us, we're so busy that I can't go take, can't run around and take all these house photos.
Yeah.
And then want to turn around that same day to put on the website that night. And the market's so fast that we're like, you really need someone in-house to do this. You can't have someone outsourced because our project timelines, okay, we'll go film something, but it'll take us 3 to 4 days to edit it because we have 18 other things right behind it that we're trying to filter through consistently. So for that, and then it's like the money factor as well. Like, okay, I'll get paid, $100 per house. We're going to film 5 houses, $500.
You could have did that in an hour somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So those type of things that we deal with. And then, individual real estate agents, they're by themselves. They fund their own money, even though like Keller Williams or all this stuff, they'll help with like sort of their solidification, but they're not going to want to pay the bill of what our whole staff at 12 is what it's going to cost them. So, and then automotive is just, I stay away from that as far as I can. So.
Nice. For home service based business, what is the best marketing plan right now, or what's the best marketing stream right now, would you say?
I would honestly say social.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's so easy, cheap, they can do it themselves.
Yep.
You run a couple different ads, but make sure you're super targeted. Go on the back end of Meta. Don't do just a Facebook boosted post.
Yeah.
It's so generic.
I made
so
that mistake
easy.
when I first started.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, boosted post, done. Oh, people in my area, I'm done. It's like, it's too cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You really have to look at like audiences who you're finding really targeted down to that, and then find a really, really good either industry facing video, a really good photo that represents it if someone sees it.
Yep.
So.
Nice.
What's like the toughest thing that you've come across being in business for the 2 years? What's your hardest point that you've had?
Getting invoices paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a collections agency. No, not Chris. Chris is good. I just sent him a text. He's going.
No, I feel that. Yeah. I understand that completely.
But other ones that were like 90, 180 days past due, I'm like, we are still doing work for you, and I'm about to cut it off if you do not pay my bill.
You got people 190 days past due?
Well, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one I have right now is, I think, 45. And I just see it tracking already. So that's the biggest thing is like, it's the clients want us to do the work. They just don't want to pay on time. And then I'm like, okay, I got payroll every 2 weeks. I have to pay payroll.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem.
Even though we have funds, which is fine. It's just like, I never want to be that thing where, okay, more funds being drained or I have to move money over just to cover payroll when I try to put everything back into savings.
Well, and that's not fair too on your end. Like you did the work, you should get paid when you're supposed to get paid.
Exactly.
And so how are you overcoming that problem?
The new process. You saw that come through saying if you do not pay on time, there's a late fee. After that, it'll keep on going up from there.
I did see that,
and we'll stop doing work after a certain amount of days.
And
have you thought about doing like a credit card, like a reoccurring charge?
Yeah, so we have that. The hardest things, like a lot of them like to either pay on checks, some people like to pay through ACH. So it all depends. Some people, I literally get still right now like 6 physical checks. So then I have to send it out to them early enough so they can write the check, send it out of the mail. And I'm like waiting by the mailbox. Okay, is it coming today? Is it coming today? Is it coming today?
That's the game.
We're like that with our commercial clients too. Like we have commercial clients that are on net 30 and like same thing. Like it could be like day 45, day 60. I'm like, man, you still have $19,000.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
So you saw in the sheet I said there is a new credit card that has to be on file.
Yeah.
So that, or they can do ACH.
Love it.
I'm kind of trying to think of that too because I've run into that problem. That's the biggest issue in construction is getting paid. Like you're always waiting for money, even if
always
you're done.
take a deposit. Always have a card.
Yeah, we always take deposits. I think the biggest problem is like at the end of the job, people believe that they can tell you how much it was worth to them when it's over, and it's like, wait a second, it's not how it works, and then we're just betterizing contracts and such, but still,
there's got to be a way to.
We're getting there.
Proof of funds or something.
We're getting there. It's just there's no recourse in the actual like state processes and like legal wise.
You can't put a lien on their property.
Yeah, you can, but people know how to you can bond against liens. So like really they can just bond against that lien, and that lien's just up in the air, and a bonding agency has it, so it's not on their house anymore. And to get that lien is like just a struggle and a half. It's not worth it. Most of the time, it's not worth it. So. That's one of the biggest problems I see with any business is just getting paid. Yeah. But they'll pay a Walmart here every time they go there.
Or like for us, we used to buy a bunch of T-shirts or stickers, and we buy them for the client, and then would get them, and then they're like, they don't pay us, but then they don't pay the vendor. It makes us look like schmucks.
Yeah.
It makes us look like assholes. We're like, they're like, can you get our money? Like, I'm waiting for them to pay us just to even just pay you.
Yeah.
It makes it look stupid.
I hate doing that, but it's like sometimes it is what it is.
Exactly.
You just don't have the money to like. I just had a job recently where it's like payroll was like $8,000. It's like I don't have $8,000 to give you out of my pocket. I'm gonna have to get it from him to give it to you. And if you can't wait, I don't know what to tell you because I gotta wait. So
yeah. My payroll's $20,000 every 2 weeks.
Mine's like 10 a week.
You don't want to know what mine is.
Yeah, his is ridiculous. I thought mine was bad, man. If I mentioned
I
mine,
do not want to know Chris's. I can just imagine that.
Mine is anywhere from like 70 to 80 grand.
Yeah, I start sweating
every 2 weeks.
I'm starting
That's
to
not
sweat.
including taxes.
Oh, Jesus.
We run about $100,000 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I would throw up. I mean, mine's bad enough. It's like 10 grand a week, and I'm like, sure want to cry, but like that would make me puke, man. I wouldn't even know how to deal with that.
Yeah, that's why I don't do payroll. That way I don't even have to look at it.
Yeah.
It's the damn guys that
I
like
just see it the
ask for
next
the money
morning,
that
come out of the
day.
bank account, and cry a little bit, and keep going.
Yeah. ADP hits me up. Your payroll ran. I'm like, okay, I don't even look at it. It's good. I know the round number. I don't know what's been added and what's been taken away.
Yeah.
So
cool. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Britton.
Thank you.
Give a little plug. Where could new entrepreneurs or people that have been in business looking to develop a great marketing strategy and drive more clients, how can they find Ghost Marketing?
Yeah, so ghostmarketing.org. Phone number is 864-704-3229 is the corporate office number, not my cell. I do have a book, Entrepreneurship, goes through a bunch of stuff as well. Or they can find us on Facebook, Ghost Marketing Agency. Easy enough, it's on all platforms.
Awesome.
I didn't even know his book was named that.
I didn't either. We almost named this podcast Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
I remember you coming out with the book, but I didn't even put two and two together.
I don't push it at all because I wanted to get it done, so I had the name, and then it sits there.
Because
Ken
Ken found a podcast, I think that was up
I'll get you a copy.
name.
I'll get you a copy. Yeah. Entrepreneurship.
I'll have to read that, man. Yeah, no, I didn't even think of that.
I haven't pushed it. I
remember when he came out with it though.
I was like, I did it to get off my docket because for me, I was like, if I have this idea and if I don't do it and someone else does it, I'm gonna be really pissed off at myself. So.
Well, good thing we didn't name it this. I mean, it probably would have been a good plug for you if we did.
Yeah. Hey.
It was the main sponsor. Yeah.
Entrepreneurship podcast by Entrepreneurship Book. Find it on Amazon.
I'm making sure we're getting royalties for every book.
I do.
Oh, it is so weird.
You hear this?
We were trying to do that, but
I have 30 different. I have 30 different domamains.
That's why we didn't go that name.
Yeah.
I think that's why. I mean, CEO Hot Seat definitely has been.
And I've done nothing with that domain too.
I'm sure
it just sits there.
Britton's gonna go home and buy
$10 right now. I think I bought it for 17. Just kidding.
He's gonna go buy CEOHotSeat.com tonight. Like, hey, Chris, I got
Let's build a website overnight.
We have it. Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah, just build overnight until Chris. Hey, I have it now. Good luck. Here you go.
That's a real business.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, man.